All right, welcome back to Falcon Blues TV. Hope you're doing okay now that the season's finally over. Everton are safe, and we can all have a breather. And I think now, at this time, I'm going to bring out a little bit of new content, speak to some of the fans, especially with the final season at Goodison Park. And I thought I'd start it with Laura. Laura's been one of the many photographers and documentarians, is the word I'm going to use, around Goodison Park, and especially trying to document and capture all the moments and all the feelings of the fans and everything. And Laura, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon to have a quick chat.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on. And, I think just as you've said there, we have got so many sort of fan photographers that I think, we're actually really lucky to have such great talent in our fan base. There's every day on Twitter, there's sort of new content from everyone, and it's great to see, really. And everyone's got their sort of unique sort of style as well with that, which is great. There's so many different angles and aspects and everything, which is just brilliant with, obviously, as you say, coming into the sort of final season of Goodison, and, it is a little bit emotional, and, it's finally starting to hit home that, that's actually happening.
Yeah. Was that the idea then, that because of your love for photography, I suppose, was that I've seen on tweets and stuff like that where you said it's something you've always wanted to get into, and like, as Everton and the final season giving you like that final or that real push to go, right, I'm gonna dig into this and really enjoy it and get more out of the hobby?
Well, you know what, like I've been taking, like, most of the time just little sort of film cameras mostly to the game with me, and it's always just been a hobby, and I was taking the pictures just for myself, and then I'd post a couple on Twitter and they'd go a little bit mad sometimes. There was one I'd taken of Carlo Ancelotti, obviously way back when that actually happened, and that went viral. Like, it went everywhere on Facebook, on different fan channels and stuff like that. And it was never something originally that I set out to be like, oh, I'm going to be doing like prints and books or sort of anything like that. And those prints and things started because I wanted some of my own work in the house, and then family were liking it, friends were liking it, and it was those sort of support systems that were like, you could actually really do something with this. Like, people say to me, like, you're really sort of talented, and I'm quite like, I just I'm not very good at taking those sort of compliments, and I think I just keep telling myself, if not now, sort of when. I've really I do it for the sort of love of it more than anything. It really is a sort of passion of mine, and obviously loving Everton and combining the two, it's just something that made sense, really. And then I've been putting together that book for the past 5 or 6 months, and been a real sort of labour of love, just because I've enjoyed doing it, really. And yeah, it's just been really sort of emotional, and I've not really sort of thought of it until recently, of like, oh, it's going into the last sort of season of Goodison. It's just, as I say, something that I genuinely just really enjoy doing, and had a bit more free time to sort of actually be able to sit down and make it into something more real, if you could say that.
Yeah, we'll touch on the book in just a moment, but we were saying there about the Ancelotti one. Is that the one from the family enclosure looking over towards the glass sheet? That one, yeah. So it's the minute you mention it, it's already stuck in someone's head. That's that photo that you're talking about. So it does resonate. People have picked up on the work that you've been doing, and as you're also saying about having very talented photographers, artists, doodlers, and things like that. I've known Gary Lambert for a long time as well, and his work is Gary's one of those guys who's a bit like yourself. You like to keep yourself to yourself, but at the same time you want your work to be seen and your work to do the talking as well for yourself. So I commend the pair of yous, and I see a lot of your messages about mental health and things like that, Laura, if you don't mind me saying. it almost seems like this is a bit of an escape for you, just to give you that ease and that give you like, okay, the pressure's off me. All I've got to do is just go out, have fun, take photos, enjoy my time with Connor and things like that, and just be able to enjoy your hobby as well, and just give you that little bit of freedom and a bit more, I don't know, a bit of a calming influence on you for yourself as well, I suppose.
Yeah, do you know what? I absolutely 100% agree, because I think, for me, I when I sort of started doing this a bit more, I'd actually quit my job because it was quite a toxic environment that was negative for my mental health, and I took that decision to sort of go, I can't keep doing this anymore, and then sort of leaning into my photography a bit more. It's really therapeutic for me, and being able to just go for a walk round with my camera and snapping away and taking pictures of things that you don't necessarily always see, and especially at the game as well, even when things have been terrible on the pitch, just that sort of escape to just kind of appreciate Goodison Park and the fans and the surrounding areas, even walking through Stanley Park and those views you get of Goodison through the sort of trees and stuff. It's just you kind of appreciate as well just how interconnected and intertwined into the community Everton are, and that's something that is such a big thing for the club and for me as well personally. But as you say, it's been really good for my mental health, and just being creative, and it's something I really enjoy doing. And when people come to me and say they love my photos and stuff like that, that means so much more than any sort of monetary value. Like seeing people, with the turnstiles, for example, people have told me some of their sort of stories, me and my dad have been going through, the Bullens, whatever number it might be, for X amount of years. And, it means so much to me and to him and to the family. And that it's those little stories that, really mean so much more. And I think that's what I kind of try to do with my work as well, is photos kind of tell a story. And it's just sentimental as well. And I think, to know that I'm providing a little bit of happiness for some people through my work, it just, it means a lot, really. So it's kind of like meaningful work through photos.
Yeah, it's giving you a bit of a purpose now, then, hasn't it? I mean, I'll be honest, I've got mine, and I bought this through Laura's page, which I will put all the details on in the description. So for me, this was turnstile 29 and 30 in the Lower Gladys Street, and this one's been quite popular, I believe, as well. I think you've seen a fair few of these. I think this is the one gate on the street end that's generally empty, but is also one of the most popular ones, because the one before it, 27 and 28, backed up by a police horse, and it's down the road, but you literally skip over to the next gate, and this one's virtually empty. Yeah,
see, so that one has been the one that I would say probably sold the most of. It's Connor's gate as well.
All right.
I don't know why it's been the most popular, but the Lower Gladys and sort of GT4 is kind of synonymous, isn't it, with Evertonians? There's people who I've had buy ones from me who don't have their season ticket anymore, but that's where they used to go. So, maybe because it is such a big sort of, GT4 being the sort of main sort of area for Everton and Goodison Park, maybe that's potentially why. But I've got a copy of it on my wall as well. I think I've got about, I've got a family enclosure one where I used to sit. I've got my mum's turnstile, and I've got Connor's. I haven't even got my actual turnstile that I currently use. I need to get that one sorted. But yeah, it's just great. Like all the little stories, as you say there, like it's everything, isn't it? Like you can go back through so many years of so many different people and games, and I think it's such a lovely little sort of memory that people can have.
I remember I mentioned it to you when I was buying it. I mean, my idea is to put it into a frame with that alongside, like the last program of the season, and if I can get that signed by any of the players, brilliant, and my season ticket for that year, and put that into like a box frame and stuff. So this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be. I'm literally going to be putting this in a drawer for till the end of next year sometime. But it's there for me, and and I appreciate what you've done and what you're doing to, because you're putting this out. You're putting yourself out there to everyone, and the work you're doing is people, like you say, people are loving it. They've all got their own stories and things like that. So to have that little memento for Goodison, especially if you're not able to, afford to get your seat at the end of the season, which is probably what's going to happen, or there's going to be parts of Goodison that are going to be available, to have something, as small as that, but big in stature. Do you know what I mean? It's not, it's literally a 3x6, but it's huge. It's that memory of going through Goodison and things like that. So I fully commend and highly recommend everyone who's seen Laura's work to get something, or have a look through the website and see what you think. But there's also your hardback book that you're looking at as well, which is also a collection of photos. You've been working on it, you say, for like 6 months.
Yeah. So firstly, just thank you so much for those comments. That was really nice. And I love the idea of the frame with the season ticket and the program. I think I'm gonna have to do the same for myself.
with your own game, not with Connor's and anyone else's. Make sure it's yours.
Yeah. But yeah, I think so. The book itself, the photos in that, they actually go back to 2017.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much right the way through until Sheffield United. Most of them are sort of more recent, but it is a mix of sort of everything, inside, outside, some match day, a little bit of match day stuff, some non-match day stuff, from Goodison tours, from literally everything, like around the Denby Castle as well on a match day. Just a complete mixture of all kinds relating to Goodison Park, really. It's just kind of like this like whole thing together that just kind of encapsulates Everton and Goodison Park. And it's been, as I said before, a complete labour of love, and I've put hundreds of hours of work into it. And I was actually, when I got the copy back from the printers the other week, it was last week or early this week, I was actually a bit emotional looking at it, because I was like, I can't believe I've produced something that, if I do say so myself, it is a really good piece of work. Just the quality of it, of the print, and just sort of flicking through it, it's nice to sort of look back on, as I say, those memories, those stories. There'll be people who may look at pictures of the fan zone who'll be like, oh, I remember meeting my uncle there, or whoever it might be, or I've had someone say to me the home ticket collection booth, on the Bullens Road, which I took pictures of that, but was like, to me it doesn't hold much significant sort of value, but this other person, other people, and it's those sort of little things that you don't really realise, and then you put it out there, and these people come to you and say, oh, this reminds me so much of my brother, or my dad, or my uncle, or my nan, and like, that's exactly kind of like the sort of emotions I want to kind of evoke from that work. So to just have a book that's like this, it's a coffee table sort of photo book that people can have a little flick through and sort of cast their mind backs about every memory they've sort of had at Goodison, and it's family, it's friends, it's relationships, it's pretty much everything for most of us who are Blues, isn't it? It's so deep rooted into us, and I think for me that's sort of the key sort of thing with the book. I've got pictures of family and friends in there that they're not posed images, they're just
in the moment sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I like to snap people in the moment. I don't like posed and things like that. So it's just capturing sort of little snapshots in time. And Goodison Park as a place is so rich in history, and just to be able to document it in some kind of way, and all the little different features in and around the ground and the local community is amazing. And the fact that people are wanting to sort of buy that and are interested in it and things like that, it's just unbelievable, really. And I love it.
No, you should be proud of what you're doing as well. You know, don't take for granted what you're actually doing, because like you say, you're taking a picture there, which at the time might not mean anything to you, but someone might just see a relative in a picture and go, he's no longer with us, or she's not, you know, she's moved halfway around the world or anything like that. And you go, bloody hell, I've got something there, I've got something tangible that I can look at, you know, and I can when you've got stuff like that, they're always a good conversation starters as well, because I was looking at photos the other day and there's a picture, it was Howard Kendall's birthday yesterday or the other day, wasn't it? And I've got a picture of me from the Echo with Howard Kendall. And he's got older than me from when I was like 3 years old. And one of the lads, Dave Barlow, what used to play football with him as well, Dave's a good lad, he found the article in the Echo online and was able to send me the actual page from the Echo. So I only have like this grainy, black and white picture. Now I've got like a decent black and white photo of it. So it was just like, they're always conversation starters for these little photos and things like that. So, you know, but it's the kind of stuff that I can go to, you know, Phil even got involved, who's the steward in the Park End. He went, where's my picture with Andy King and stuff like that. And it's just, it was that kind of conversation. It's that kind, it brings people together. And that sort of goes on to my question, which you pretty much answered it for me. It's like, what does Goodison Park mean to you? And I think through your photos, through what we've spoke about for the last 10, 15 minutes, it's your escape. It's your way of reaching out. It's your way of, you know, making you feel good about yourself mentally. And, you know, you should be proud of what you're doing, Laura. You really, really should. I think, you know, and everyone else who does photos, who does artwork, who does stuff for Evertonians should all be proud of what they do. And, you know, I commend yourself and I commend everybody who does it, because it's hard work. It's difficult wanting to put yourself out there. Sometimes you don't feel like you want to put yourself out there, but you know, for what you're saying about, you know, being around Goodison as well, it's just like, there's so much memory, there's so many things that you can lean on and things like that, and just understand what Goodison means to you, you know.
Yeah, it's, you know, for me with Goodison, like, it's family and it's friends and it's relationships. It's, you know, it's kind of everything. Your whole life is kind of, when you're a season ticket holder as well, like your whole life is centered around it. You know, you're planning ahead, like what, you know, for me, what am I going to be doing with the dog when I'm off the match day? I need to sort so much. And then, you know, I don't sit with my mum anymore, but she's still in the family enclosure, and where I sit, I can see her. It's always a little wave to her down in the family enclosure. And, you know, it's all those sort of little memories that, you know, are gonna stick with me. And, you know, it is a massive part of my life, if not the majority of my life. And it's how I met Connor, and, you know, it's you know, how I've met you guys as well. And you know, it's a big thing. It's how I've met most of my friends, and it really is sort of like the epicenter of everyone's sort of life. You know, that's everything I've ever known is Goodison Park. And, you know, it is really emotional thinking about leaving there. And obviously the new stadium's fantastic, but it's going to be a massive adjustment. And you know,
there should be, though, plenty of, you know, completely different photos, completely different outlooks, completely different, you know, sight lines and things like that for you. Then it'll just be like, well, you can compare. You can go, well, this is how Goodison looked, but how does, you know, standing at the top of Stanley Road, looking down and seeing Bramley Moor look? How does it look from the other end of town, from the liver buildings and stuff like that? So I'm sure it'll keep you busy with plenty of photography to do for you, Laura, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously all the stones on is Everton Way, they've called it. Like, you know, that's going to be fun, trying to find my stone amongst everyone else's.
Well, that's probably what's going to happen now, is they're going to have you take a picture from the floor of their stone, looking at Bramley Moor or something like that, isn't it? There's going to be some weird photo that someone's going to want. But just before we finish up, then, Laura, I just want to say, and Connor as well as being part of a lot of the editing as well. So we'll just say a special thanks to Connor for helping you with that as well, because I'm sure he doesn't want to feel left out.
Yeah, he's actually contributed a couple of photos as well from the Gladys Street from GT4. So yeah, massive thanks to him for sitting through me stressing about putting it together. He did editing for me, also telling me which photos are probably a bit crap. And
but it's the best policy, isn't it? You don't want to be putting out. You got to separate the ones that aren't so great to the ones that that'll be great, and people will resonate with that one perfectly, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's also done there's a sort of a small written piece at the start of the book that he put together, and it kind of makes the reader sort of sit and think just about where you've sat and the sort of memories that you've had whilst being at Goodison. I think that's kind of what the book is about, reflecting on your sort of memories and what Goodison sort of means to you. So
okay, so at the moment you're working with a local printer to see about getting the books done. So although you'll be able to, I'll put the description to it, and you can still buy it. But obviously, you're working with printers to get it done locally, which is again support the local community where you can as well. But if people want to buy the ordinary photos, is that on the same page, or is that on your page?
That's on the Shootproof where you ordered that from.
Right. Okay. So the links and everything will be in the description below. We'll finish up then, Laura, because this has been a lovely little conversation. It's been great to hear about your work, and as well, this is probably just a message to everyone who feels that maybe they can't express the work. Laura has taken a big leap and has put her work out there. Don't be afraid to put photographs, to put your thoughts about Goodison. No matter how small you think it might be. We've seen some absolutely amazing work, and the lady who was making the actual turnstiles, I mean, that is stunning.
Work is it's like blown my mind. Like if you look at the little intricate details on them, it's right down to like bird poo on the pavement. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm really looking at it.
And she was almost afraid to put the work out as well, because she didn't know how she'd be recognised. But look, just do it. I mean, that I can only say that to everyone who feels worried. I mean, look at me. I started a YouTube channel 5 years ago with absolutely no experience, and whether anyone was actually going to listen to me. And people do, you know what I mean? And people are willing to come on the channel like yourself and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to get yourself out there. Anyone who wants to do it, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Laura. It's therapeutic more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it can 100% be anxiety inducing at times, but I've received nothing but kind of love from everyone for my work and stuff like that, which is amazing. And I think everyone should, I've had people message me who said you've inspired me to start taking my camera to the game, and that's amazing. Like I love taking my film camera just because I really enjoy shooting on film, and it's like you say, everyone's got different unique angles. We all sit in different seats as well, like just getting that perspective and that point of view. And I think Goodison's only going to be around for 19 more league games and maybe a couple more cup games if we're lucky. So capture there's amazing, as you say, doodlers. Blue Doodler, he's fantastic at what he does as well. And there's so many of us out there who are creating and doing all kinds with Everton and Goodison Park, and just everyone get their stuff out there. It's really fun.
That's it. And if you want to see more of Laura's work, obviously the links will be in the description below. But if you want to follow you on Twitter as well, Laura, it's what your Twitter account is.
Underscore.
I'll put you on the spot now, haven't I?
I can't even remember my own one. Yeah, underscore Laura G at 23.
Sounds. Because obviously, as well as doing your other stuff, you also put stuff just on Twitter straight away as well, don't you? If you're taking the odd pictures, so it's good to see. So I'll tell you what, then we'll wrap this up then, Laura. But thank you so much for joining us. it's great to see your work as well. Again, links will be in the description below. And from me, make sure you're liking and subscribing to my channel, and follow Laura on Twitter. Until then, up the fucking toffees, Colin Chong. See you in a bit. Nice one.
Thank you.
Laura, that was boss. I was really good.
Thank you very much.